These 3 changes could double your practice. So I'm going to show you how we help Dr. Christian double the number of new patients he saw every month, double the percentage of those new patients that prepaid for care, and cut the number of people dropping out of care to 1/3 of what it was. I helped Dr. Christian, chiropractor, do this in just a few months. In this video, I'm going to break down the exact process we used to reveal the biggest problems in his practice and the changes we made to fix them. Dr. Christian, chiropractor at Recharge Chiropractic in Wisconsin, and he specializes in neurodivergent kids and family health. When we first met, he was really struggling with inconsistent revenue. He couldn't take care of his family in the way he dreamed of. He was stressed, fearful, and he doubted himself. He wasn't confident, and he didn't have enough new patients. When people did come in, they didn't listen to his advice or follow his recommendations. The core reason behind all this was he didn't value himself. If he didn't believe he was worth it, how could his patients believe that? And so I want to make an important note here. We focused on improving one thing at a time, because doing one at a time is going to lead you to the most consistent growth, right? And we were focused on just improving the one thing that would lead to the most impact at a time. And so we made 3 changes in total. I'm going to break down the thought process behind why we chose certain things over others. 3 strategic installs, 3 changes. Number 1 was new patients. And so we implemented patient-funded marketing. Let's talk about it. Our starting metrics here, we saw that we were at 7 new patients per month, but the availability could support 15 to 20 new patients per month. Let's break it down. Let's make it super simple. The initial care plans average about $2,000. He could convert 20 new patients per month, but he was only seeing 7, missing 13 new patient opportunities. On average, he converted about 50% of patients. He could see 6 new patient conversions from the 13 he was missing initially. We multiplied those 6 new patients by $2,000 per patient. We saw that he was giving up $12,000 every single month by not having these new patient slots filled. At the end of the year, it's almost $150K that you're giving up just because you're not filling your new patient slots. So we implemented just a couple things. Number 1, we installed patient-funded marketing. We ran paid ads to drive more new patients into the practice, with a big key here being that we did prepaid appointments so that we can ensure high show rates. Okay, so we had as many patients as possible prepaying for their appointments via paid ads. All the advertising is profitable, so we get a 3x return on day 1 on that cash collected from patients. But that's number 1. And then number 2, we focused on our 24 and 24 review jumpstart for social proof. This is a big boost to the advertising. There's also an amazing way to rank higher on Google so you get more new patients coming in the door. So those are the 2 things we implemented to fix the new patient problem, right? And so after implementing these action steps, the result, over 6 months, the new patients increased by 114%, which means we went from 42 new patients to 90 new patients. The ROI from day 1, while running these ads, made sure that the ad spend paid for itself. Patients were spending more than that when they first came into the practice. We were profitable the entire time as we doubled the number of new patients coming into the practice. We were able to increase revenue that way and increase the consistency and predictability of the revenue because of that. Step number 2, as we had more new patients coming into the practice, we need to figure out how do we get those patients to actually convert, because running paid ad patients versus referral patients is tougher. You have to have different types of conversations, right? And so starting metrics over a 6-month period, we looked at what patients were converting. We saw that we had 90 new patients over the 6-month period that we were running ads. 57 of them converted. 42 of those were to a payment plan. 15 of them were a prepay. He had an option where people could prepay for his treatment plan to get a little bit of a discount. Close percentage, 57 divided by 90 was 63%. Payment plans were 74% of that, with only 26% of patients prepaying. The question was, is it worth trying to incentivize more patients to prepay? This is the question we were asking ourselves. We looked at a couple things to make that very apparent. We wanted to diagnose, hey, is this an opportunity we can improve? And incentivizing the prepay, learning how to get more patients bought into doing that, we looked at a couple things. I had him calculate and grab all of his patient info over the last 3 years. We looked at all the patients who had prepaid versus who had done a payment plan and what they'd spent in their lifetime as a customer. We segmented every patient that's ever prepaid. How much did they spend from when they started over the last 3 years? Let's average it out. Let's do the exact same thing with payment plans. How much do they spend over their entire lifetime if they've started within the last 3 years? We saw that patients that prepaid on average spent $3,200 in his practice. And that includes retention, right? That includes finishing the initial care plan. With the payment plan, we saw that number is only $2,100. He was missing $1,100 per patient that decided not to do the prepay and instead did the payment plan. We can come up with a variety of reasons for why this is, but the numbers don't lie. Instead of getting patients to do the payment plan and spend $2,100 and go into prepay and spend $3,200, he would have a 52% boost in revenue for all the patients that did prepay. Why is this? We walked through some of these numbers. For the prepay, the 15 patients that actually prepaid, 14 out of 15 finished their care plan. which makes sense. They're paying for it up front. They're more committed. On the payment plan though, 28 out of 42 finish their care plan. The difference there is nuts, right? If we saw a similar number, then it would be like 39 or 40 out of 42 finish their care plan, right? We saw 20 out of 42. The question was, how can we get more patients to prepay so that they're more bought in, so they finish this treatment plan, they get better results. Because of that, they're going to refer more, stick around for longer, and so forth. We applied our non-salesy conversion blueprint. This is centered around asking questions. This is the core of how to get patients to realize they need this type of care. Number one, what is this patient going through? Patient's dealing with migraines. What is it they're going through? They have migraines. Everyone gets the what, right? Everyone pretty much does that. I'm not met every chiropractor to know that. Number two is the how, and it's how is it affecting them? Some docs get this. Not a lot actually do this. And what I mean by how isn't just, okay, it hurts and it affects you in this activity. No, it's, yeah, it affects me. I'm not able to go to my kids' soccer games. So that's how it's affecting them. The big piece about why. The why is not, well, because it's affecting me, I'm not able to go to my kids' soccer games. That's the how. The why is, why does that even matter? Right? Because there's a lot of parents that don't go to their kids' sports games. We might assume and imply these things, but it's way more important that we ask them, why does this even matter to you? A lot of parents don't do that. So I'm just trying to understand you better. And people start to realize that, wait a second, I don't feel like I'm a great parent unless I'm doing these things. A much bigger problem we're trying to solve together is not just like you want to go back to your kids' soccer games because you can miss, you can be inconsistent. But what you can't be inconsistent on is feeling like you're doing your job as a parent. They start to realize these beliefs that they already have, they're just verbalizing them. We're helping them come to those conclusions. And it helps them have that extra little reason, oh, this is actually a bigger thing than I realized. Bigger reason to commit. So that's a big part. Next, we simplified the day 2. 3 parts of the day. Number 1 is the recap, where we're recapping everything that happened in our day 1. Number 2 is the recommendation, where we present, hey, these are the things we're trying to accomplish in this time period. This is what that looks like, right? And the big thing for both of these, we are attaching the problems they have. We're reminding them of the what, the how, the why, and the recap. We're tying in the recommendation to what they're struggling with, how that's going to impact their why. We're going to address this so your migraines leave and you can go back to your kids' sports games and feel like you're doing your job as a parent, right? And then lastly, finances. Separate recommendation of finances. It's going to make you feel so much better because you should not give a recommendation based on what you think your patient can afford. Your recommendation is your recommendation. It's what do you think is going to get them the best results for their goals. We're not trying to judge patients' finances. We present what they need to accomplish their goal, and then we talk finances separate. We figure out what they can or can't do. That's okay. And so we separated those pieces. And then number 3, we changed the payment option. We applied a little bit bigger of a discount on the prepay because even just a slightly larger discount adds an extra $1,100 to their lifetime value, increases their retention, referrals, and reviews, and so many other things. So we changed the payment plan option to option number 1 is pay as you go. Option number 2, most patients go with this because there's a pretty hefty discount. And I recommend anywhere between 10 and 20%. I recommend 20 if you can do that. But yeah, so we just changed the option and gave a reason for it. The end result, this is crazy. After 2 months of sales training, the percentage of prepays had a lift of 134%. That doesn't mean that the number was 134% of what it was. That means it's increased 134%, right? And so what that means is that the prepays went from 26% of patients prepaying to 61%. That is nuts. The payment plan went from 74 to 39%. Amazing. I love to see those prepays, which means that on average for all those patients that started prepaying, their lifetime value increased by $1,100 per patient, right? So absolutely crazy. That was number 2. Number 3 now, how could things get even better? Let's talk wellness care. Let's walk through this, what our numbers were looking like here. Starting metrics. This is specifically with our payment plan, right? Because we saw that most of the patients that were prepaying actually ended up continuing to wellness care. It's crazy how that works. And so we were looking at, cool, how can we get more patients that are doing the payment plan to start wellness care? And what we noticed as we looked at this, we saw that 42 patients started care with a payment plan, right? 24 of those patients started wellness care. We're like, whoa, there's a big discrepancy. Only 57% of patients that start care move to wellness. So we're like, okay, where are we losing these patients? Where's the drop off? Are they getting to the last visit? Is something different? We analyzed the drop off points. We saw that 20 out of 42 patients finished their care plan. 24 out of those 28 transitioned to wellness. So that means that 67% of patients finish their care plan. A third of the patients that start don't even finish the initial care plan, which means they're not getting the full results they can, which means that they're not referring. They have a bad taste in their mouth because this didn't work for them. Absolutely nuts. 86% of the patients that finished transitioned to wellness care. And so we saw this discrepancy. Okay, if they finish their treatment plan, they are likely to transition. We looked at why 30% of people are dropping off in the middle of their treatment plan. That is definitely the biggest drop-off point here. 14 out of 42 didn't complete their care plan. So we have that. A third didn't complete their care plan. 11 out of 14 of those people didn't even make it to their 12th visit. Patients that made it to the 12th visit, only 3 didn't dropped off between visit number 12 to the end. And why is that? We looked at this 12th visit was actually a re-exam, right? Which means that when they make it to the re-exam, they get that positive reinforcement. They see the changes their body is making, and they see it on the subjective scan. And now that they see that, they're motivated to continue. But if they don't get to the re-exam, they're not likely to drop off. So the question became, how do we get patients to stay until the re-exam, right? Visit number 12. So we looked a little bit into the reason why. Number 1, there's something called time to first value. This is the measure of time it takes for a customer to experience their first win. To a patient, this might be the measure of time it takes for them to realize that they just had a win to celebrate. A study by OpenView found that time to first value can increase customer lifetime value by 38%. This could increase that again by 38%, which is wild. And so we set some action steps. How can we get patients to experience this win before visit 12 so that they continue, right? So that they realize they're making progress. And there's a few things we made. Definitely take notes on these. But number 1 was we started to monitor changes in pain. We set expectations at the beginning. Visit 1 through 4, you're going to notice this change. Most patients during visit 5 through 8 notice this. They notice that they're going to be sore in this time, right? Visit 9 through 12, they notice that they're going to experience this. They're going to experience better sleep, better energy levels, weight loss. We're talking about all these things that we see patients experiencing. We're not saying that you for sure will experience this, but we're letting them know this might be something that comes up. That way, if it does come up, we're telling them when their symptoms are going to start to go away. We let them know if this does come up, this isn't some random occurrence. This is something that happens with a lot of the patients we see. This is a win we can celebrate from the care you're getting here. We're connecting the wins that they celebrate to the care they get. We are asking them very specific questions during those 12 visits. The time to first value only goes down if patients realize they experienced a win. We need to help them realize there's a win to experience, which is why we're letting them know, setting the right expectations, and then asking them questions as time goes and checking in. So calling out those other benefits to the health that they're experiencing. And then last, we set a designated time within those first 4 visits where as soon as we hear that win, that first win, we ask them for a Google review. Because if they're going to share with other people that they experience this, they're more likely to actually internalize that. It gives us an in to talk more and ask more questions about all the other benefits they're experiencing. We noticed that a lot of patients were getting great results within the first 4 visits. They were noticing a lot of symptoms change. If it needs to be extended from there, great. But just making sure that we identify where are these drop-off points and how can we get through them, right? This mentality is the biggest thing I want to be conveyed here. Every practice is going to have different strengths and weaknesses. If we can take the mentality of let's actually look at the system, if the retention through the initial care plan is something we need to focus on, we need to figure out what is the point where people are dropping off, identify the weakest link there and fix that. Once we fix that and build that into the system, then we reassess amongst all the other potential problems or opportunities to improve in the practice. Time to first value went down to within 4 visits. Only 1 patient in the last 30 days has dropped off a payment plan. We went from 11 patients dropping off all the way down to 1 patient dropping off a payment plan. And the crazy thing is that there's less payment plans. We're decreasing the chances they drop off if they do start a payment plan. All this adds up to more patient commitment, which means better patient results, which means more reviews, more referrals, more testimonials, which leads to higher retention and then a higher lifetime value. The biggest one is the mindset shift. Dr. Christian is a different person in Chiro than he was before. He's more confident. He knows he has the power to shift the direction of his practice. He knows that sticking to the systems we built are going to continue to increase the revenue of his practice every month. Since we did this, his new patients have more than doubled. He has 8 more high quality patients every single month. He had a 134% lift on the prepaid care plans, which means that 61% of patients are prepaying. The patient value for the patients who prepaid is increasing because of that, an extra $1,100 per each patient that does prepay. More patients are getting to visit number 12, which increases care plan completion, number of reviews, referrals, lifetime value, etc. And then he actually hit his first time ever collecting 20K in a single month. Absolutely nuts. But those are the results of just these few changes. If you want to do the same in your practice this year, we're giving away a completely free strategy call. Use the link in the description below. We're going to diagnose the biggest bottlenecks that are keeping you from hitting your goals and even give you a step-by-step action plan so that you can overcome them. But let's see how patient-funded marketing, non-salesy conversion blueprint, and the hybrid growth model can help you grow and scale your practice. I'll see you guys there. Book a call and we will chat about it. Catch you guys in the next one.